So we all know resolutions don't work. We've made them before, and we've sworn before that this is going to be the year that I actually stick to them and I reach those goals. And yet, here we are again. And one of the biggest reasons that we fail at our resolutions is because we don't slow down enough to really think about what we actually want. We don't tap into our real desires. We pick goals based on what we should want or what sounds impressive, right? The polished resolutions. But when you take the time to slow down, to really look at all the areas of your life and think about what you want each area to look like and tap into your deepest, darkest desires, and then you set your goals from that place, that is where the magic happens. And that is what we're diving into today. Hey, friend, welcome to the show. So, before we dive in today, I want to make sure you know that this is part 3 of a 6-part goal setting that sticks series. So, if you have not listened to part 1 and part 2, I want you to stop right now and go on back to part 1. That's going to be episode 10. I am taking you through a goal setting process that actually works. But the secret is that each piece of this 6-part series matters, and it is set up this way for a reason. Each episode is going to build on the last, and you don't want to skip any of the parts. Also, if you have not already grabbed your goal setting planner, please do that. It is free. I have created it for you to go along with these episodes. So on the podcast, we're talking about it. I'm giving you all the information, all of the what and the why we're doing what we're doing. And then in the planner is where you're actually going to apply it to your real life. You can grab that in the show notes, and the combo of the planner and the podcast is what is going to make this year completely different for you. It's like the difference between watching a cooking show and actually getting in the kitchen and creating the recipe yourself. 2 totally different experiences. So I want you in the kitchen. I want you getting your hands dirty, and that is where the planner comes in. So please do both. Go through every episode in the Goal Setting That Sticks series in order and grab your planner and do the exercises along with me as you go. Okay, so let's just review what we have done so far. In part 1, we slowed down and we reflected. We looked back over the year that we have just lived. We looked at what you actually did, what you lived through, what you overcame, and all of the amazing, beautiful things that you experienced over the last year. And this was not just a feel-good exercise, right? This was evidence for your brain that you are capable, that you can grow, that you can create change, and that you have a beautiful, amazing life. And that gets us started from a place of confidence and abundance instead of scarcity and self-doubt. Then in part 2, we chose your theme for the year. We tapped in to future you and we let her guide us through this process. And remember, your theme is your North Star. It is the thing that you can come back to over and over again throughout the year when things are getting a little messy or you're feeling overwhelmed or stuck. And now we are here in part 3, and it's time to get really honest with ourselves. So before you choose your goals, it's really important to understand what you desire. And let me tell you, this part is harder than it sounds. Most of us, especially women, have been conditioned to minimize our desires or to rationalize them away. We talk ourselves out of them. So let me just say that this is not the part where you make your plan. This is not the part where you start listing all the things you're going to do. We're not there yet. This is not where we're figuring out the how. This is the part where you just get really honest and you tell the truth to yourself about what it is you want. Okay, so we're going to start out this process with a list of questions. You're going to see these in your planner. So you're going to see questions like, what do I want more of this year? What do I want less of this year? What feels heavy right now? What feels exciting? What am I craving emotionally? Now, as you go through these questions, I want you to just let it be messy. Let your answers be instinctive. Resist the urge to start thinking about, yeah, but I can't do that because XYZ, or how would that even work? Or that's just something silly. I need to just forget about that. And I also want you to resist the urge to start mapping out the to-do list to get that thing. This is not where we list out our action steps. And what you will find is if you get caught up in that, you go down this problem-solving rabbit hole and you cut off that part of your brain that is sharing with you what you need and want. So right now, your only job is just to listen. It is not to problem solve. It is not to dissect it. Just be really honest with your answers. And there are more questions in your planner. Take your time with this. Then, step 2, after you have done that, we're going to go even deeper. We want to explore your hidden desires. These are the ones that you usually minimize or push down, the ones that feel too big or unrealistic, the ones that you tell yourself you shouldn't really want. So here, we're going to answer another list of questions. Questions like, what do I secretly want, but I keep downplaying? What would I choose if no one else had an opinion about it? What feels scary to admit out loud? It's really important that we let these come out because the truth is these are suppressed desires, and suppressed desires do not disappear. Instead, they show up in our lives as restlessness, as feeling stuck, and as resentment. Now, I want to be really upfront with you. Part 1 and 2 of this exercise might be really hard for you. And I really want you to give yourself this next week to go through this. Don't feel rushed. So what I would actually recommend is that you sit down today or tomorrow in the next couple of days and you go through those questions and answer them as best you can. Then I want you to walk away from it for a couple of days. And you will probably find yourself thinking about them. You're probably going to feel and experience some new things bubbling up. Then I want you to come back and revisit those sections and answer them again. Because when you do this the first time, it's honestly a little hard for a lot of people to really tap into what they want, to really allow those hidden desires to be put out on the page, because we really have been hiding them away for so long. So it's almost like the first time you go through, you're starting to give your brain and your body and your soul permission. And then with a little bit of time away, when you come back, it's like now you're going to feel more ready. You're going to be able to really put down what you want, to really go even deeper, broader, more expansive. And that is what we want to tap into here. So I will be honest, this is one of the hardest sections that we're going to go through in this process for most people. And that is one of the reasons that it's so important. So take your time and revisit those questions. We're going to move on to step 3. And step 3 is where you anchor your desires to your identity. This is where we take those desires and we start to turn them into a direction for you. Just like we talked about in last week's episode, identity really matters. You don't rise to your goals, right? You fall to your identity. So now we want to ask questions like, who is the woman who wants this? How does she think? What does she believe about herself? What does she no longer tolerate? These questions are going to help keep you connected to future you while you are clarifying what it is you really want. And by the way, this is a great time to revisit the future you visualization that we did last week. You can do that over and over. And sometimes that can be really helpful as we progress through the process. So use that tool as many times as you need to. I'll make sure I link that in the show notes as well. All right, so once you've worked through the identity piece here, it's time to start narrowing things down. So here, you're going to think through themes, areas of your life. Things like health, your body, connection, confidence, money, joy, peace, your career, growth, your home, your purpose. I've got several of these listed out in the planner, and you're welcome to come up with your own as well. But you're going to think through all of these different areas of your life, and we're going to start to narrow it down to your big 5 for this year. Now, this is another piece that is really hard for a lot of people. I can tell you it was really hard for me. But it is actually really important that you narrow it down to only 5. And listen, I get it. Most people want to work on everything all at once. I know I do. But that is exactly why things don't stick. So think about this for a second. Let's say you are planning out your day in the morning, and you can grab a sticky note and write down 3 things that you need to get done that day. Or you can grab a legal pad of paper and write down 20 things that you need to get done that day. First of all, I bet you can already feel the difference there, right? Sticky note, 3 things, that feels pretty good. That feels doable. I got this. Legal pad with 20 things on the list, you already feel a little defeated, feeling a little overwhelmed, kind of want to just crawl back in bed, right? Same thing applies here. Did you know that the root of the word priority is actually first thing? Like, that's what the word means. Singular, one thing. So historically, there was no such thing as multiple priorities. You had a priority. It wasn't until the 20th century that we started saying priorities. And our brains have not caught up, y'all. There is tons of research in cognitive psychology about this. And it shows that when we try to focus on too many things at one time, our effectiveness drops, our decision fatigue increases, and our follow-through decreases. Which really isn't surprising, is it? Your brain is not designed to deeply focus on 10 or more major life changes at a time. So this is why in our planner, we are going to work to very intentionally dig down to our top 5 areas. So it may feel a little limiting, but really it's all about focus. So as you go through this, I want you to think about which areas keep showing up for you. Which ones feel the most alive, have the most energy behind them? Which ones connect back to your future you? So let me just share some of mine. I know that in this coming year, I want less scattered time. I want less working on the weekends and more focused time during the week. This year, it's really important to me to have more quality time with my husband and my son, especially since my son is heading off to college in August. Growth is a big one for me. I always want to be growing. I really want to get better every day, every month, every year. So for me, when I narrowed down my top 5, I have connection, growth, money, body, and home. Now, once you have your top 5, you're going to name what things you want more of and what you want less of in each of those 5 areas. So, for example, body is one of my top 5. So for me, what I want more of is more consistency working out, more strength training, because we know lifting weights in midlife is hugely important, and I have been avoiding that. And I want to focus on exercise that gives me longevity. I want less all or nothing thinking. Like, I don't have to run a marathon for it to be effective exercise, which I have definitely done in the past. I also want less guilt if I miss a day. So around growth, for me, that's really more about personal growth. So one thing I want more of is I want to read more personal growth books, like physically read them. I have read a ton of these books in the past, and I always get so much out of them. But recently, I've gotten out of the habit of reading them. I'll listen to them sometimes, but I don't do the exercises, and I really want to dial that up this year. And so I want less listening, kind of passively taking in that information. So I actually have something really fun to announce to you guys that I'll tell you about in just a minute that ties into that, where you can join me. So, this step of naming your top 5 and listing what it is you want more of and what you want less of in each area is really powerful. This is where we start to turn that desire into direction. Okay, so let me share with you something that I am so excited about. As I said, growth is one of my big 5. And specifically, I want to do better with reading more personal growth books, actually doing the exercises, really applying the stuff I'm learning to my life. And keep in mind that I've been working through this goal setting process ahead of you. So when I got all the way through it and I started thinking about setting up structure for myself to hold myself accountable and setting up habits that would help me stick with this goal of mine, I instantly was reminded of an idea that I had years ago, and that is to start a personal growth book club. So today I am announcing to you the Better with Every Book Club. And y'all, I love that name. Come on, isn't that cute? That is so fun because that's what it's all about, getting better with every book. And this aligns perfectly with my theme of Be the Blueprint, right? If I'm asking you to grow and I'm asking you to reflect and evolve and show up differently and apply these tools that we learn and that we talk about to your life, I got to walk that walk. So I will put a link to the book club in the show notes and you can learn more about it. But here's the basics. We are kicking off in February. I will select one book every month, always personal growth, various topics, but always something that is going to appeal to my 40 and over ladies out there. Then I'm going to have a private podcast just for my book club members. And each week I will break down the highlights, the key takeaways for that week, and talk about the exercises. And if you've ever wanted to see me pull back the curtain on my own life and get super vulnerable with you guys, this is where that is going to happen. Because I'm going to tell you where I'm struggling. I'm going to be really honest with you about what I'm doing, what I'm not doing, what I like, what I don't like about the books, and the ahas that I experience along the way and how you can apply it to your own life. And then we're also going to have a private Facebook group. Because I know that one of the most fun things about being in a book club is talking about the book you're reading. And I want us to be able to do that. So we'll have a Facebook group where we can come and talk about the book. We can talk about what we like and what we don't. We can talk about the aha moments. We can share how it's working in our own lives. We can ask questions, and I will absolutely be active in that group as well. So if growth is one of your top 5 areas as well, and you'd like to read more personal growth books and have some accountability and some community and some coaching as you go through it, then join me in the book club. I am seriously so excited about this. And y'all, I'm not kidding. I have wanted to have a book club for years. I created the name of this book club and even designed the logo seriously like 2 years ago. So this has been a long time coming, and I can't wait for you to join me. Okay, so let's get back to our planner and this week's topic. So like I said before, I want you to give yourself time on this one. I really do think you're going to need to do a little bit, walk away, come back and do a little more. So allow yourself that space. Let those insights bubble up in you. And as always, if you want deeper support, if you want more personalized guidance as you are going through this, or just generally help navigating the identity shifts that come with the desires that you're naming for yourself, that is exactly what I do in my one-on-one coaching. That is where we dive really deep and we tailor everything to you specifically. So you can get a link to a clarity call in the show notes. And that's what it really is. It is a clarity call. It is a call where you and I will spend 30 minutes together and I will help you get clear on whatever it is you're dealing with. And you can decide if continuing to work one-on-one is something that you're interested in. But either way, you will absolutely walk away feeling so much better and so much more clear. All right, so we are trucking right along here. In our next episode, we're going to start turning all of this into aligned goals, and we'll start to map out how we're going to actually make all this happen in the next year. So get excited, get your planner, share this episode with a friend who needs it, and I will see you next week. In the meantime, go be fabulous. Make sure you take my free Shift Happens quiz to find out what you're really craving next in midlife. Or if you think you might be ready to dive into one-on-one coaching with me, book a free clarity call. You'll find both links right below the video.